We have a special guest, a first-time visitor coming to Fearless, Paul Burkhart. He's got his own little podcast, and you likely never heard of him, but man, has he nailed the Shedeur Sanders deal from the giddy up. You know what? I'm going to break a little protocol here and play a clip just to warm you up. This is just a warm up before I'm going to get into the conversation, but I'm going to warm you up for Paul. Let's play SOT number 8. This is Paul before the NFL draft. When everybody was saying Shedeur Sanders was, maybe the number one pick in the draft and certainly a first-round pick, and he definitely, I'd bet my house he's a second-round pick. This is some guy named Paul Burkhart who we're going to get to the bottom of, like, who he is. Is he some sort of scout? Is he some sort of coach or whatever? But here he is telling everyone Shedeur's going to be a fifth-round pick. Play the clip.
One more thing. I can't help but get this off my chest, and I've been doing this a lot on X. This is the opposite of Jaden Danielson. Shedeur Sanders is being touted as the number one draft pick for the Cleveland Browns and whoever else wants to take him. That would be the biggest mistake. That would be a bigger mistake than taking Caleb Williams. Shedeur Sanders should not be drafted in the NFL any earlier than, say, the 5th round. And if I'm Shedeur Sanders, I legitimately consider changing positions. Seems like a good kid, but I think he's a product of his father versus being anything remotely close to a starting caliber NFL quarterback product. I don't think that's that. I think this would be on the level of a Tim Couch debacle, and God knows the other 3 dozen quarterbacks or 4 dozen, 5 dozen quarterbacks that they've had in the last 20 years. It would be an epic mistake to take him number one.
Who is Paul Burkhart, and how did he nail the Shedeur Sanders deal? We'll get to the bottom of that. We'll talk about the latest.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to PB Sports Talk. It's Paul with you here. This is an unusual time, an unusual day. What are we, about 5:18? Pretty much right on schedule. A little bit of an unusual day and time for us, but had to get on here. A lot of stuff been on my mind all day. I've been getting messages most of the day. People been asking me in direct message and on text and other things. What are your thoughts? What are your thoughts? What are your thoughts? Are you going to go live today? You're going to go? I was going to go this morning, but I had some things going on. There was just no way I could, convey my thoughts in the way that I wanted. And so here I am, and I'm going to share those thoughts. I'm going to kind of give it a couple of minutes here and give a chance, a minute or so, give it a chance to get some people coming in live here. Many more will see this on the playback and record and cuts. So I'm going to give it just a moment here for other people to come on in, people on the way home from work and such, and I'll give it a chance, and then I'll jump on. What's up, Zach? Good evening. Welcome to the show, others. I'm going to get started here in just a moment. If you missed the intro, it's the old one, but I've got some other stuff to share tonight that maybe you've never seen, and it's going to kind of bring a lot of perspective to what's going on. Yeah, not much to talk about today, is there? There's a lot. I'm going to try to keep this to a half hour or less. That's going to be difficult because my monologue is going to be kind of long. Because this is almost 10 months in the making. 10 months since I made the prediction on January 19th, and we are at what? November 17th. So basically 10 months since the day of the now infamous prediction. So I'm going to give it 40 seconds here and let some more people come in, and then I'll get on to it. All right. I'm going to go ahead and get it started. So just a graphic I did a little bit ago. Obviously, you see Shedeur there with his hands head in hand at the end on the bench. You see the right hand up there coming into the game. You see Stefanski right in the middle. You see Shedeur with his enabler, his lifelong enabler, with his hands on his shoulders there. And then below that, I have to delve into the Lions-Eagles last night and the end of the game call that affected things. And I'll get into the reasons why I never blame things on officials and how I taught players of mine to never pay attention to that. But I will give you my thoughts on that. So I have something else that I want to play you here. First of all, I'm going to play, I almost called him Dion, Shedeur, when he came on the field yesterday. And then directly after that, I'm going to show you a clip. It's a little bit lengthy. It's a 5-minute clip. And I wore this especially for the occasion because the day after the draft, when I came out, after obviously January 19th was the Shedeur prediction, and then the day after the draft was when it actually came true. This is the shirt I had on. It's about a 5-minute video. And I hope everybody will watch it in its entirety and not mute it or whatnot, because it basically describes every single thing that took place from leading up to the draft and the combine, into the draft, into round 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then he gets drafted in the 5th round. And I misspeak in there and I say I think maybe Dylan Gabriel's a 5th-round pick. Obviously, Dylan's a 3rd-round pick. Shedeur's a 5th-round pick, so I want to clear that up. And then it talks about basically every single thing that has happened since then, April 28th, I think it was, up until like to eternity. I think it will live it will in perpetuity and to infinity forever. But it actually details step by step. It's kind of crazy. It's pinch me surreal type stuff. Is all happened to basically to the T. Here's Shedeur coming onto the field, and then I'll get into the other video.
Sanders. This time it is Shedeur Sanders.
All right, here goes the video from the day after the draft, where I have the same shirt on as I do right now. Opinions on all sides of the spectrum here about him landing in Cleveland. I thought this was a terrible place for him to go to. Damian Woody, former New England Patriot, Detroit Lion. I love Damian. I love his perspective, but I couldn't disagree more. He said that this is the perfect landing spot for Shedeur Sanders. I could not disagree more. That is a dysfunctional franchise that lacks leadership at the top, that is just making mistake after mistake after mistake. When they look at the video, when they took Shedeur Sanders, it was a golf clap, literally a golf clap. Bill Musgrave, who is the quarterback coach, per Adam Schefter, and I'm paraphrasing here, I don't want to misquote it, but Dion and Musgrave spoke. They played together, I believe, in San Francisco. He basically said he'll take care of him. I mean, every father, right? And I'm not one, but I was a coach for a long time and I understand it from a unique perspective. Every father cares about their son or their daughter, but to the extent that he has interjected himself into everything, it's just not going to end well. Any decision that Stefanski or the organization makes will be under a microscope, times 40. I just don't understand. I don't see how any of this can be successful. First of all, you take 2 quarterbacks after you just signed Joe Flacco, and you have Pickett in there, and you have Deshaun Watson. That's going to end, and we all know that. They're going to dump him. But this makes no sense. I believe that actually that this was a favor. I really believe that this was a favor for Dion. Why Cleveland would bring this in? You have an absolute Molotov cocktail setup for this not to go right. First of all, I believe Dylan Gabriel is a better quarterback than Shedeur Sanders. Pickett might be a better quarterback
than Shedeur Sanders. Joe Flacco's a stopgap measure. Veteran, let the young guys come in. It was going to be Pickett and him fighting for the job. And then let's see if we can draft, somebody else for the future, because I don't think they fully believe in Pickett either. But you draft Dillon Gabriel and then you draft Shedeur Sanders. It's like, what are you doing? I'm all for competition. I think competition breeds excellence. I think if there isn't somebody there to push you, it could have, negative impact. But also, you got to be thinking about how you build the competitive environment. So did you give Dillon Gabriel a fair shot? You invested fifth-round pick in both of these guys, or fourth and a fifth. I don't even know where Dillon was. I think they're both fifth. It's not a throwaway pick either. It's not like, Will Howard went, I believe, in the sixth, and Quinn Ewers went in the seventh. That's really a dice throw. You could get some really good players in the fifth round. So if you made a decision to draft Dillon Gabriel and you follow up right after by taking Shedeur Sanders and everything that comes with that, how does that set you up for success? How does that create a competitive environment? What happens if Gabriel wins the job? Which I believe he will, but at some point, it might not be day one, but at some point he wins the job and they build a franchise around Dillon Gabriel. Let's assume that I'm correct on that. What happens then? You think Shedeur Sanders? January 19th, I said Shedeur Sanders is nothing more than a clipboard holder. You think that he's going to stay behind the scenes and he's going to support Dillon Gabriel? No. The narrative will be it's racist. The narrative will be it's hating. The narrative will be how could you put Dillon Gabriel? Shedeur Sanders is better. There's always a backup quarterback. The backup quarterback a lot of times is the most popular person on the team. Now you make this guy the backup quarterback, it will never end. And I believe that's why you saw the golf clap. Now, I don't think any one of those guys wants to deal with this show that's coming to town. How do you win? How do you get through that? It's a no-win situation, and it's a lose, lose, lose situation. It's a lose for somebody like Dillon Gabriel and the quarterbacks in the room. It's really a lose for Shedeur Sanders too. It's a lose for the team, for the franchise, for the fans, and for the city. You just set yourself up to fail. That's my opinion. I don't see how that is setting yourself up for.
All right, so that was obviously the day of the draft. I decided to wear the same shirt that I had on that day, because I feel very nostalgic today. Pinch me surreal, this whole story, man, I just don't know how I landed on this. I've landed on many, but this one is just really eerie. It's really, really weird. So there's a lot, obviously, that I have to say, and it's been building. Honestly, it's been building and building and building and building all day. I didn't watch anything on YouTube, on X. I didn't watch any videos, any podcasts. I didn't watch any of it. I saw I followed it yesterday, what was going on yesterday during the game. I was commenting live and in game. And as he ran on the field, I said it right there and then. Yeah, boy. I appreciate you joining the AI show. I'll address that in a minute. I like to talk to our guests that pop in. He says, let me pop this up onto the screen. He says the Browns are setting Shedeur up to fail. It's a possible Johnny Manziel here. I'll get to that in a second. I don't know how much you followed me in the past, or if you saw the open or not, but I'll touch on that. So I didn't watch anything today. I kind of wanted to be fresh-minded. Very difficult because it's trending everywhere. I saw some things. I did hear about what Cam Newton said. I heard about Josina. What's her name? Josina Anderson made a complete fool of herself all day yesterday. There's a number of other people, and I purposely stayed away from it because I kind of wanted to come with a fresh mind. Everybody knows where I stand on this, but so we saw it. We saw a lot of what I had been waiting to see. Now, what I'm about to share is less about his actual performance, because I'm going to be real with you. I'm going to be real with you as a longtime former coach, as a previous athlete, a person who's owned companies and led hundreds of people, even really thousands of people over many years, different places, and then including my own businesses. it is unrealistic, whether it was Shedeur, whether it was Dylan, whether it was Flacco, whether it was Dart, whether it was anybody. Anybody who comes into that situation, I don't expect the world. I don't think a half is fair. I don't think 5 games for Dylan Gabriel is fair, or maybe it's 6 now. I don't think that whatever it's been, 5 games for J.J. McCarthy. I don't think it's enough of a body of work. I think that there's more there. I think we live in a society where everything has to be right now, and we expect perfection once somebody steps on the field, the court, the ice, whatever it may be, or the course as in golf. I don't share that same opinion. So I don't hate the fact, or I'm not going to sit here and rail on the fact that his performance was subpar. I want to point out a couple of things that I saw within the performance that appear to have not changed. But being the speed of the game, and let me just, I gotta just stop here for a minute, because I want to make sure that I do not forget to say this. And I don't have any teleprompter, folks. I basically have 2 lines of notes, and that's it. I want authentic. I want real. I want nothing scripted, because this person and his father and his entire family and many, many pundits out there, it's all scripted, folks. This is a reality show unfolding in the world of sports before our eyes, and I'm not playing along. So I'm going to go authentic, and I'm going to rip it. And how it comes out, it comes out. This is live. It's one take, and I have nothing here except for lights. And I have a monitor in front of me where I see myself, and I see all your comments on the side, and I have my videos across the bottom. I'm going to give it to you real, because that's the only way I want to be. And Shedeur Sanders is the opposite of real, as is his father the opposite of real. You are watching a fantasy. You are watching a sports reality show, but it's not on Netflix. It's not on Amazon. It's actually taking place on one of 32 teams in the NFL. It is a disgrace of the highest magnitude. And I say that, and people, you save your racist BS, okay? Because I said it about Manziel. I said it about Ryan Leaf. I said it about Baker Mayfield 1.0. I hate to repeat Jamarcus Russell. I don't care what color he is. I don't care what color his father is. I don't care what religion they belong to. None of that matters to me. I am grading, evaluating, and assessing based on what I see relative to what it takes to lead a team, an organization, a franchise. Be we, not me. Why the Browns have handled this, in my opinion, there's some things I don't know. There's some things I can't figure out. There's some things we may never know, but I really have a connection into how a lot of these things work. I just have an understanding of it on a certain level, and I think that I could share some value into what Stefanski's thinking and into what Barry is thinking. The question is, why did they ever draft him? Nobody knows it. Everyone's asking the wrong questions. That should be the number one question asked by all. Why did you draft the man? Period. It's not, why didn't you play him? Why isn't he getting reps? Why this? Why that? He's not ready. It's none of that. Why did you draft him? What's up, Jesus? Why did you draft him? All right. So, it's just, I'm like, it's so nauseating. It's so, like I want to take 5 showers, because I put my life into teaching young people. 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th, AAU, and I counseled a lot of coaches at the high school level, the college level, and players who had just went into college. I dedicated nearly a decade of my life. And what you saw yesterday, what you saw since January 19th in the prediction, what you saw at Colorado, and what you saw at Jackson State is the epitome of why youth sports is turning into an epidemic, pandemic type level of destruction. This is what parents see. This is what players see. Go ahead and walk into your local YMCA. Go ahead and walk into the local Saturday recreational basketball, maybe for the players who weren't good enough to make the bigger teams, and they make the Saturday morning 9 o'clock team. Go pop into an AAU game and watch what you see. You think Bethune-Cookman, I think it was, and Grambling the other day, that was disgusting and disgraceful. I haven't even spoke out on that yet. It's that in its behavior like Deion Sanders. Deion Sanders is the prime example, pun intended, of how never to raise your son or daughter through sports. It's a disgrace. He's been enabled. He's been coddled. He's been protected. He's never learned the right way how to do anything, including play the game of football. If you understand sports, if you understand coaching, Deion Sanders is not a football coach. He's a name who can attract talent and people. That was the case at Jackson State. It was the case at Colorado. They paid him money to do this. He had an opportunity to bring in his son, and nobody was going to say a word. And you know what, folks? He did a disservice to his son. In my opinion, his son is in the position he is in today. Both parents have something to do with that, but it is largely because of Deion Sanders. I put something on X today and I got tore up. I do not believe that Shedeur Sanders' first love in life is football, and I'll go to my grave with it. I don't believe it. Not for a second. That guy is a brand builder. He's a rapper. He's a marketing guy. He wants to do certain things, and he thinks he can use football as the platform and take that and merge them together. It doesn't work, folks. And that's more than half of the reason why he's not playing. So you got guys like Danny Cannell and Chase Daniel and Luke McCown. They are all coming out and telling the world that there is nothing unusual about the practices and the lack of or even no reps for Shedeur Sanders. They are basically, and maybe they got together and talked about it, because they all start their statements with, there appears to be a significant misunderstanding of how this works. Shedeur Sanders is a backup quarterback, folks. He was drafted in the 5th round. He has been brought along as such. What has taken place is standard operating procedure. Folks, I'm here to tell you this, and I say this ad nauseum, and I get very, very, very worked up about this, because people want it to be something when it's not. And I don't think people understand what the Cleveland Browns need at the quarterback position. It's so much more than a quarterback. The captaincy in football on a quarterback's jersey is the most important captain of any player, position of any player in any sport in the history of ever. Almost every single, and I'm not saying rookies, he's not supposed to have a captain on his shirt right now, nor is Dylan Gabriel, as an example. And quite frankly, nor is Jackson Dart. Kyler Murray is an example of someone who should never have a captain or a C on his jersey. He is known to be lazy. He's known to not be a film studier. He's known to just kind of go through the motions. He has been known to say he doesn't love the game. You can't put a C on a person's jersey like that. You can't have them as a quarterback of one of 32 of the most, exclusive jobs in the world. People say it's sports, it's a game, it's not real life. Oh, yes, it is real life. These are real people who work for these franchises. These are 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, 10 billion and more valued franchises. This is serious business. It's just they play on a field and other people play in an office. The reason Shedeur Sanders has not gotten opportunities like certain segments of people think he should is more about the non-athletic side than it is what he can do from a physical standpoint as a quarterback. He cannot manage himself. He's a selfish, self-centered, me athlete of the modern day. As I said, his parents coddled him and all of this, and so has a huge segment of the media and of the podcasters, of personalities such as Cam Newton, Ryan Clark, Shannon Sharp, Ocho Cinco, all of these people, Josina, there's a lot of people that have said all the incorrect things, and even the professionals are trying to tell them. Not that Shannon Sharp didn't play, Ocho Cinco played, I got it. Cam Newton played, I got it. And they're entitled to their opinion. But there's something behind the scenes, and I usually don't talk about this, but it's this racial component. It doesn't matter that he's black. This is not much different, and I'm not saying he's not better than Johnny Manziel as a pro. So please understand the context here. Johnny Manziel was one of the most immature people to ever step on any professional team in any sport. Same with Ryan Leaf. The list is very long. Art Schleister. The list is Jeff George. You want to talk about arm talent? Maybe the greatest arm talent in history. It didn't mean he was the greatest quarterback in history, people. Because Shedeur threw a 20-yard pass down the middle to Harold Fannin. Oh, my God. He forced the ball down the field, and he hit a wide-open Harold Fannin. I got more people that I saw today talking about Baltimore as a hot defense. Baltimore is in the bottom quarter of the NFL, folks. They are not a good defense. And their victories most recently are not against very good teams. Okay? So this ain't some hot defense. So let's just get that out of the way. It's perceived as they're hot. 1-5. Whatever it is, 4-5 or 5-5, they're not a hot defense. They're not even a good defense. They've got a couple of superstar players, and that's it. As it relates to Shedeur Sanders, and he showed it. It's like he still does not get it. A month ago, 5 weeks ago, he's lipping, right? Yesterday, he runs on the field. He raises his hands. You didn't need to see anything after that, folks. You didn't need to see it. But guess what? We did. He still made sure to fulfill the hour's worth of the reality show, maybe an hour and a half versus of the reality show for the second half, for what he did on the bench, and then what he did in the press conference, which I'll be honest, I didn't watch it in its entirety, but I don't need to. Because anything he says at this point is inauthentic. Why is it inauthentic? All of this coaching, and when I say coaching, he's being coached on how to act, folks. When you do something consecutively for 22 years, it does not change overnight. You can't teach an old dog, new tricks like that. It takes a lot of time, work, mind memory, muscle memory, mouth memory, communication style, all of it. He doesn't have it. It's been inbred in him. It has been enabled. It has been enthusiastically congratulated, and it's what he believes is the right thing. In your first moment, not in a preseason game, in an actual NFL regular season game that you have told the world, and your father has told the world, and your brothers and any of other of your followers and supporters have said that's the moment you've been waiting for. And in that moment, barely stepping inside of the field of play, you decided to raise your hand and implore the fans to cheer you on more. He doesn't get it, or he doesn't want to get it. Either way, it doesn't work. You run on the field, you go up to each of your other 10 teammates, and you go, give them a bump, give them a fist pump, tap them on the pad, something. Let's do this, guys. Come on, let's go. Make it a team. You're supposed to be the leader of men. You are not a leader of men. And every quarterback who is perceived to be, who is drafted to be, who is coached to be, must have that ability, or you will fall off, number one, or number two, your team will not be very good, and eventually you will get traded, replaced, demoted, benched, whatever you want to call it. That's life in the big city. If he truly changed, which they are trying to tell us that he has, this coaching persona, coaching of his behavior, it's like he probably got behavioral therapists in the back. He probably has people trying to coach him on how to speak to media, how to communicate, but he just can't help himself. I used to tell my guys all the time, revert back to your training. Revert back. It was like a broken record. Revert to your training, revert to your training, revert to your training. He doesn't have any training, folks. All he knows how to do is revert back to what dad taught him is the way. Me, the Flash, Prime, Legendary, all this. And here's another thing. Did you see Baltimore make fun of him? I don't believe he's respected, folks. I don't believe that true players, and regardless of color, I don't believe that it doesn't matter if it's hockey, they're going to knock your head off. It doesn't matter if it's baseball, you're going to catch one up close by the chin. It doesn't matter what sport it is. They don't respect people who come in like that, and you are a marked man. I remember them saying it about Mayfield. I remember them saying it about Manziel. I definitely remember them saying it about Ryan Leaf. Shedeur Sanders, and he's got nobody to blame but himself, but they will victimize him, and they will tell you that it's because of the color of his skin, it's because of his father, it's because of this, that. Oh my gosh. Kevin Stefanski won't refer to him by name, and Kevin Stefanski wants him to fail in Cleveland. First of all, Kevin Stefanski didn't want him in Cleveland. I'm convinced. I believe there's 2/3 of the three people involved in that decision, Haslam, Berry, Stefanski. 2 of those 3 didn't want him, and I'm convinced it is Stefanski and Berry who did not want him, and Haslam did. And it was a favor because, in my own opinion, if the Browns didn't draft him, and they are one of the teams that needed a quarterback, he was going to fall out. He was going to fall out completely, and that would have ruined the Prime brand. And I believe he worked backdoors with Bill Musgrave. It was reported by Adam Schefter, and I'm paraphrasing. It was in the opening clip. He talked to Bill Musgrave. He called Bill Musgrave. Bill Musgrave said, I will take care of him. And to the best that I can remember, this was during the process. This is not like 8 days later after the draft. They don't draft him. He slides. I don't buy it. Not for a second. I know Jim Harbaugh and John Harbaugh. They think I'm from frickin' Michigan. Pretty darn well. I know Jim Harbaugh since he was one of my idols growing up. He isn't anymore because of the way he acts, but he was one of my idols to watch. They don't subscribe to that, folks. And there's no hope behind Lamar Jackson until who knows how many years. Do you really think that they were going to bring him in? I mean, it makes zero sense on every level. With Shedeur Sanders comes his father. With Shedeur and his father comes a circus. With Shedeur, his father, and the circus comes unlimited distractions that will never, ever go away because they won't let it. Because the minute they think they're sliding out of the limelight is the minute they double down and triple down to get back into it. I don't believe that a backup quarterback has ever not been interviewed post-game. But why exactly was Shedeur Sanders, was there this big deal to get him in front of the media yesterday? Why is that? You're the backup quarterback. This is media created. And Dion, right, wrong, and different, and I'm not saying I agree with it, but they sure know how to manipulate. They know how to create. They know how to bring eyeballs to something, and they know how to get people to care about something that they shouldn't, or pay attention to something that they shouldn't. And it's been going on and going on and going on. So Stefanski makes it known that the minute Dylan Gabriel clears concussion protocol, he's our quarterback. So Shedeur goes back to the bench. I said it in the video where I have this shirt on. If you play him, it's wrong. If you don't play him, it's wrong. There is no win. If you play him, even if he plays pretty well, he's going to act a fool. And yes, you are right, 1224, which is why I said that Cleveland was the worst place for him because, and this is a big part of Stefanski that a lot of people don't realize. And even if you want to argue that Shedeur is more athletically talented than Gabriel, Gabriel has all of the other intangibles that are required to lead a franchise. So I'm more willing to work with this guy than I am with this guy. I can teach this guy football stuff, but I can't teach him the behavioral training because he's so far blown, folks. It is in his DNA. It will take years, just like it did with Baker Mayfield. The man told you himself he needed to be on this 7-year journey to be that. Now, I don't think he's going to stay around for 7 years. I have him out of the league in 3 or less because I think he's pulled by other interests in his life. And I don't think anyone is going to put up with his stuff or his father. So, and that's why I think that he put his head down in his hand. Well, 2 reasons why. 2 reasons why he put his head down and went on the bench. And then people say, oh my God, Shedeur can't do anything and everybody's got something to say about him. Go be with your teammates, loser. Go be with your teammates. Stop making it about you. This is clear as day simple from a youth coach, high school AAU. Get your act together and grow up. Learn what adults do. Learn what leaders do. Pick up a book instead of a rap video and watch what happens and watch how you transform your life if you want to and if you care, and stop blaming this person and that person. Half of what you saw on the bench was pay attention to me, I'm so sad. And the other half was he knows inside that he had that moment, and I don't agree with it. In his defense, I don't agree that 30 minutes should define the rest of his life. I don't agree with that. I don't believe that. But I think in that moment, he felt that he had to come out and light it up and win that game, and then there was no choice. And he came up short of that. Now, let me address a couple of the things, and I'm jumping here, folks, because like I said, I'm not doing notes. I'm doing full-blown, authentic, shooting from the hip. Let me just address a couple of things on the 4 for 17 for whatever it was, 47 yards, 1 interception, and 2 famous, patented Shedeur Sanders sacks. And I also want you to watch, if you haven't, I'm sure everybody saw it, look at how he handles the ball, folks. He thinks he's at Jackson State. This is the NFL, as the famous Jerry Glanville phrase and statement goes, stands for not for long if you don't do your job. He thought he could get away a couple of times. He's holding the ball out like 6 loaves of bread. He's lucky. He did fumble. He recovered it. But in a lengthy game, in a full game, in multiple games, you play like that, you're going to get killed and you're going to kill your team. And the other team is licking their chops because they know what your tendencies are. You are an undisciplined person and you are an undisciplined player, and you always have been. One thing your dad did right, Jimmy Horn, Webster, Travis Hunter, he surrounded you with some players that could hide all of your deficiencies and could hide all of the deficiencies that Mr. Dion doesn't have as a head coach. He's not a coach. He's a coach in name only, in title only. He's not a coach. You could maybe call him a recruiter. You could maybe call him a brander or a marketer. You can't call him a head coach, but they do. And he let his son get away with everything under the kitchen sink and on top of the kitchen sink because he was his son. How many? I don't have kids. but I coached and managed a lot. And there's one thing that I know is if you let them get away with enough, give them an inch, they take a mile. I mean, I'm one of 29 first cousins, and I think I'm 30 cousins. 2 of the 30 cousins that don't have children. I think it's 2. So I watched. The second cousins is something like 44, 46. So I watched everybody else have kids. And how you raise a kid, how you coach a kid, how those parents lead their kids. I had to work with all of that. So he puts his head down in his hands. Somebody comes over and taps him. Baltimore Raven comes over and sits next to him. Oh, poor me. Oh, woe was me. Oh, please pay attention to me. Then he gets interviewed in the postgame. And you know what he says? I'm sure you guys all saw this. You know, I'm a good guy, he says. It's insecurity 101. What does you being a good guy have to do with any of this? No one is saying you're a criminal. No one is saying you are physically going out and hurting anybody. I think what most people like myself are saying is you have hurt yourself, you are selfish, and your actions and your behavior hurts other people that look to you, whether you think it is right, wrong, fair, unfair, look to you and they model what you do. That's my issue. I don't think you're very good, but that's more of my issue than what you can or can't do athletically, which is why I made the prediction that I made on January 19th that you were a 5th round draft pick, because I understand what organizations need, what they're looking for, what the importance of the quarterback position is, requires something that you do not possess. In fact, you possess like this much of it, and you need this much of it. And you have no ability to grow and show that you're serious about your job because you stepped on the field last night and you went like this. I'm waving to myself. Give me more. Give me more. It's my moment. Oh, and then, I don't want you. I don't even want to say it exactly because I don't know it exactly. And I don't want to misspeak, but if it was Dylan was out there, but I appreciate that they like me. Oh my God, or they want to root for me. It is about your team. I don't think he's going to realize this. If they dump him, if they move him, trade him, whatever, throw him on waivers at the end of the season, whatever they do, and he goes to the next team, I don't think they want to get it. It's not about being a leader. It's not about winning for a team, for an organization, for a franchise, about setting an example, about thinking my mother rings in my head. Think before you speak. Think before, and I'm not perfect. Man, I've made tons of mistakes in my life. I get it. But you go back to the drawing board or you go back to it and you try to work through that and you try to take the right steps. He cannot stop doing the same stuff, which is all of a selfish nature. Do you think that Kevin Stefanski or any other coach, if Shedeur Sanders was ready as a person first and a player second, that he would not be in the game? Do you think that Kevin Stefanski wants to get fired? Some people say he's trying to do it intentionally. Some people like Cam Newton say they don't even think that Stefanski wants him to be successful. I don't like to talk like this. Are you an idiot? Are you an idiot? I don't believe that Kevin Stefanski wanted him, but sometimes there's something that we don't see right away, but then when it's in front of us, we're like, I changed my opinion about that. Maybe I didn't consider that. It's just a new perspective. We could work with it here. I know we drafted Dylan Gabriel, and I know we got Joe Flacco and Pickett and like 19 other quarterbacks, but maybe I was wrong. Do you think that Stefanski wouldn't say that? Barry, Haslam, the team, anybody? Do you think Brady, who worked him out, wouldn't have done what he did, passed on him 5 times? You think? The other teams that needed quarterbacks, the Giants? New Orleans? Tennessee? How you doing, Mel Kiper? Hey, Mel, anybody check on Mel Kiper? And that same video that I cut, there's a 3-minute clip about Mel Kiper and why he went ape shit crazy and tried to defend his position after dude kept on going first round, second round, third round, fourth round, fifth round. I'm not even going to get into that. So he makes a fool of himself coming on the field. He makes a fool of himself when he's off the field. He makes a fool of himself when he's in the building. And by the way, here's another thing that people said, oh, they brought him. I didn't see Dylan Gabriel get a concussion. Let me explain something to you as somebody who's certified like 10 times over in concussions and how to recognize them and how to read them. Many times you don't see when it happens. It is certain symptoms that arrive sometimes well after the fact. Sometimes it's the next day. Everybody's different. Sometimes it's days later. Sometimes it's a sound that didn't sound correct. And then it's like, hey, I'm getting this ringing in my ear, or hey, I saw two of something and it wasn't both eyes. I saw two of something in the same eye. And then they start examining you and they put you through a battery of tests and they start to realize that something is off. But somebody actually said that they put him in that game at halftime against a hot defense to fail, to prove their point. Come on, man. Seriously, come on. No chance. Zero chance of that. And I tend to be more cynical by nature, not a conspiracy theorist, but I tend to be a little bit more cynical by nature, and I'll consider outside the line. I'll color outside the line, or I'll look for the color outside the line and say, is there any way? I'll ask the question twice to myself. Is that right? Does that make sense? They didn't put him in at halftime. Never forget Mel Kiper had Shedeur best available overall after like the first 5, 6, 6. He was number one on his board. He was number one on his overall board. He had Shedeur Sanders from jump. Not just the best quarterback, board. And he got sucked in hook, line, and sinker by the reality show, which, credit to them, you should always increase your value in some kind of way. I mean, they're master salespeople. They're also master manipulators. They're narcissistic and they're master manipulators. They can get you to believe, like people have said to me in my life, man, you could sell anything. You could sell anything. And I would joke, say, yeah, I could sell a vacuum to somebody who doesn't have carpet before hardwood floors were popular. I could sell, glasses to somebody who can't see at all. It would make, like a joke out of it. These people can sell. That's where his true, let him go push products of some kind, market products for somebody. The golf clap in the coach's box or whatever, wherever that was on draft day, that looked like they had food poisoning or something. That looked like the most unhappy group of people that you could possibly imagine. If somebody, quote, slipped to you and dropped to you in the 5th round, like they later said, well, it's just something we couldn't pass up on. Man, we felt like we really arrived at something here. You think? Do you think you would have seen more excitement if that would have happened? If that was the true feeling? I don't think so. You take him in the 3rd if you want him. You don't take Gabriel in the 3rd and then take Sanders in the 5th. Like, somebody actually sat down in a room, in a draft war room. This is the Cleveland Browns, and there's people on here from Cleveland. Some I see on the screen that I know are from Cleveland. I'm sure there's other people seeing this that are in Cleveland or a Cleveland fan right now. People sat in your draft war room and said, it's a good idea we take a quarterback in the 3rd and 5th round. And you know what? Just for, let's put some cherry on top and let's get some good icing. Let's put the cherry on the top. We're going to put maybe the most polarizing quarterback to come out since, I don't know, Art Schlichter maybe, who was known for gambling. I'm sure there are some others. I'm just throwing one out there from the 80s because I'm old. They thought this was a good idea. There is no team that would ever do that, not even a brand new franchise, not even an expansion team. Wouldn't do that. How is it a fair basis even for him? It's just not. There's nothing good that can come from it. Josina Anderson, what is she even talking about? 3rd and 10 against all odds. Let me throw the ball to Jerry Jeudy on basically a 4-yard, 5-yard dig or whatever it was. And Jerry Jeudy suddenly has got all these dance moves, and he gets past the first down marker, and that's a Shedeur thing? Listen, I don't like to root badly for anybody. The only reason that I am this charged up about this person is because he is being validated. He is being propped up. He has been talked about. He is being victimized, and how this affects people around the world, particularly young people. That's my issue. That's what really burns me. This has taken on a life of its own. I watched yesterday. He's trending. It's going nuts. I think he's trending still today at this point, 6 o'clock or whatever it is. And it's like, this is the world we've become. And it's kind of embarrassing. It kind of makes me feel icky. We live in this society. It's now. It's victim. It's take the easy road. It's feel sorry for me. It's woe was me. It's less about team. It's nothing about we, or very little about we, but it's mostly about me. It's what drove me out of coaching in 2015. And I get asked this question a lot. Do you miss it? Do you miss it? Do you miss it? I never in a million years, I'm being honest with you. I mean, God strike me dead in this spot. I get asked. Even my wife asks me every now and again, do you miss it? Do you miss it? Do you miss it? No, I don't miss it. The message being sent to young people is to do what he's doing. I watched this in 2015, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7. I watched these young people do it. I can't imagine what's happening now. I don't even want to look. You have a 57-year-old man. His first name escapes me. It's Vance Joseph's brother from Grambling. We're going to meet disrespect with disrespect. He's 57 years old, and he believes that's the right way to handle it. And then what happens if somebody dies? It gets a helmet, maybe even if they have a helmet on, but gets, Myles Garrett to Mason Rudolph, helmet as a weapon, and hits somebody without a helmet, and he dies right on the field. Then what are you going to say? You idiot. Immature idiot. And then doubles down on it and triples down on it. When you take the mantle of a coach, doesn't matter what level it is, folks. It doesn't matter if it's at Stefanski's level or Joseph's level, Mickey Joseph. If it's Mickey Joseph's level, if it's my level, it doesn't matter. You are a vehicle of responsibility, of example, of accountability to teach. Those are young, still young, impressionable men who most of them have probably come in that particular situation, have probably come from very difficult situations, and they need Mickey Joseph to be a man, not a coward, not a fighter in that way. I mean, defend yourself, right? Like standard self-defense in life, yes. But on the football field, you don't condone that. And if it happens, because sometimes it does, no matter how well-intended you are, you break it up and you come and you grab that microphone and that platform that you have and you say, this is unacceptable. It will never happen again. And if somebody crosses that line, they are no longer a part of our organization or our school. They will immediately be removed from the team, and I'll let the academic department to take care of it. But we have an agreement. They're likely to get expelled. I don't even know if that will matter to some of them, but that's the standard you must set. And when you encourage it and you tell people that might be considering going to Grambling, Bethune-Cookman, or any other university or any school anywhere in the world, maybe they're not of the college age. Maybe they're of high school age. Maybe they're in 7th, 8th grade thinking about high school. You don't think they saw that? It was viral. Mickey Joseph has a platform across the world. And no, I'm not going to be foolish enough to he can't possibly be foolish enough to not know that. He must know that. Well, he thought he was going to be a big badass. You're going to be this big tough guy. You know what you are? You're a weakling. To act like that shows that you're actually weak, not tough. You're not strong. You're a coward. And that's a complete dereliction of your duty as a leader of men. I argue Bo Schembechler's coaching career. I don't believe he was the greatest coach of the time, or you can compare him to the modern game. Nope, I don't. Go to the Rose Bowl almost yearly and lose. But man, he's one of the greatest builders of men in history. The team. And he said, on the last day, you will never again play for each other. You'll play for some contract or some promotion. It's a famous speech in the locker room that I play every now and again. And every single year I played it for every one of my teams, even though I coached basketball, because it's relative to life. One of the reasons I got this in front of me, why I decided to even do this, is the connection between life, sports, and business. It is all intertwined. One is a shadow or an extension of each other, of one another. And Mickey Joseph blew it, and Deion Sanders blew it, and Deion Sanders continues to blow it, and I'm sure Shedeur Sanders is going to continue to blow it. Whether he ends up starting next week or he ends up going back to 2. Coddled, cushioned, victimized, and don't think he's not watching. And you know what? I don't usually talk about religion. It's one of those very sensitive places. I'm a Christian. I grew up Catholic. I grew up going from kindergarten to 8th grade in a Catholic school. I was supposed to go to a Catholic high school like my brother did, but my father passed away, and it was very expensive tuition way back in 86 when I was to be a freshman. I was supposed to be K through 12 through Catholic. That doesn't make me any better or any worse than anybody else. Okay, let me make that clear. But when you go act a fool and then you use God, the name of God, or a reference to God to cover for your manipulative, devious behavior or inappropriate behavior, I'm not a fan of that. I don't buy into that. If I go look at Shedeur's, and I haven't, if I heard his father was crying, supposedly, if I look at either one or both of those, I'm going to see, likely to see, God is great, God this, thank you for the blessing, and then go act like a childish fool and go against what God taught and what God believed and what the Bible says. I'm not here to talk about all of those things, but I'm here to talk to you about it's all mostly all fake. And it's time everybody recognize this for what it is. If you had the slightest inclination that Shedeur Sanders, Eddie Robinson would have been going crazy. Eddie Robinson at Grambling would have been going crazy. That man changed so many people's lives, I think. I'm not like a deep student of what he did. I know he's winningest of way up there, and he did a lot of great things. But yeah, I'm pretty sure that Eddie Robinson would have never, ever allowed that. Where was I here? I'm pretty sure that I will see that on their pages. And it's unfortunate because you can't go hide and use that as some get out of jail free card. If you are really acting, if you are really walking in the light, then you will behave yourself much differently. And you will not make it about you, but you will make it about everybody else. And if you have an ounce of common sense, an ounce, that if you go that way, instead of the way you're going, the me, and you go the we route, if you do that and you do that for a long enough period of time, the me stuff, the personal accolades, the personal adulation, and everything that he seeks out every second and every minute of every day, it will come. It will come on its own. It will come as an extension of it. People will appreciate it more. He will have more fans than he ever has had before. But they believe in going through life by bringing attention to themselves. And if somebody doesn't buy into the way that they go about it with the flash and all the Nick the Prime and legendary, and they have to brand themselves as such, if you don't buy into that philosophy, then you're racist. And you're a hater. Or a snow roach, like Jesus reminded me. He's never forgotten that. When I got called, I've been called every single name. It's just lunacy. And it was having to do with Shedeur Sanders. So the Browns set themselves up for this. And it's unfortunate for the fans. I mean, if you turn on Rizzy or Rizzo, like you can't even make that up. Rizzy and Rizzo and ESPN Cleveland, and I think it's 92.3, all of these people all day, nonstop, on every show, round the clock for the past, since he's been drafted, April 27th or 8th, whatever that exact date is. Do you think that these people are helping? Nope. They're making it worse. And they're looking for ratings and this and that. But it's making it worse. It's fanning the flames. Somebody said, or several people said, as soon as he stepped on the field, there was energy. There was energy in the building. Oh my God. And no one goes down the field like that. And then I heard some other lunatic statement. You know, Shedeur Sanders doesn't have any wide receivers that could get open. Shedeur Sanders doesn't have an offensive line. Shouldn't it be equal for Dylan Gabriel and Shedeur Sanders? I'm just wondering. I'm just asking. Maybe I have no clue what the hell I'm talking about. But isn't it supposed to go for all quarterbacks? Isn't that the same offensive line and the same wide receivers that Gabriel's playing, that they can't get open and no protection? That's why it's so much bigger than just a quarterback in Cleveland. It doesn't really matter who it is. There was energy, and then they played football. Yeah, good point. It doesn't start with the quarterback position, folks. And now they're all talking about Mendoza and all these people we're going to draft first. It's like, you guys don't get it. Build from the line out. Putting a quarterback in that system, I don't care who it is, it's not going to matter. Until you fix the other things, it's just all going to go together. So this is all drama. It's all a performance. It's all tricked up. Come on, Adam. He's a number 2, maybe a number 3. Jerry Jeudy's a good wide receiver in waiting. Remember what Steve Smith said about him? He's Steve Smith Sr. He's only just a little bit better since Steve Smith blew him up with that, in my opinion. He is not like a number 1. He struggles to separate too. He needs a quarterback to make him better, which means you need something way better than you have in any of your quarterbacks, in my opinion. So it's a performance, it's drama, it's reality TV show. I wish everybody would stop supporting it, quite frankly. It is devious. It is problematic. It is a horrible example. It's an embarrassment and kind of a black eye on the league. There's never been more attention paid to a backup goalie quarterback, and they tend to get popular, right? Sometimes the backup quarterback, we want him, put him in. I mean, a lifelong Lions fan, I get it. I get it. But the life that this has taken and how this is festered on, there is no benefit to this. There's nothing but a hurt to this. And thankfully for Luke McCown and Chase McDaniel, and there are others. I didn't see what Orlovsky said, but I'm sure several others. I think Kurt Warner, Shedeur Sanders not supposed to get the reps. And Rizzo says, if he's one play away from being in the game, what are you supposed to do? You're setting him up for failure. Like, this didn't just start. I think Cam Newton, which I don't agree with him, but when our backup, he had 8 to 12 snaps of practice. Okay. 8 to 12 snaps doesn't prepare you either. You know what prepares you? You go in and try to batten down the hatches when you come into a game. If the quarterback gets injured, then you get a full week. If that guy's going to be out, you get a full week of 100% of the reps or 98% of the reps, and they install game plan for you specifically, and you try to come back next week. And then you usually have a pretty good week, and then now there's film on tape, or there's film for other teams to study. It's all on tape. And then you usually see very rarely, right, that Mac Jones type of guy who was drafted to be a starter, became a backup or whatever, and then, he ascends like that. You rarely see that. If you're a backup, you're usually a backup for a reason. When there's so many teams that need starting quarterbacks and you're a backup, there's good reason. All right, so that's about enough of Cleveland. Don't fall for this BS no more. It's all magic. It's a magic trick. Stop feeling sorry for the guy. Stop putting him on the victim's mantle Hall of Fame, because he's not a victim. And he has every opportunity in the world, which, by the way, if it wasn't for his father, he never would have been drafted, folks. But he did get drafted, so therefore you're given an opportunity. But then again, when you're given something, and when you're giving this treatment your entire life, and you really never had to work for something, even when you arrive in that moment that you think you wanted, generally speaking, I think we see a lot of examples of people that don't do well in that situation, because it's not really maybe either what they wanted, or they're just really not deep enough into it and needed to grind and earn their way to it. His father was there to give him everything he needed along the way. And his father happens to be, if not the best, the top 3 or 5 best at his position in the history of the game. So he had some clout, he had some power, he had access, and that helped his son. And you know who it helped? Never forget this. Please never forget this, because I've seen it. I lived it. This was as much about Deion Sanders, if not more, than it was actually for Shedeur. He wanted to live through his eyes. He wanted his son to be in the NFL. He wanted him to be a quarterback. Don't be fooled. This is as much Deion being selfish as it is Shedeur. And to a large degree, if I'm being honest, there are some parts. See, you're 0% responsible. Here I go. I'm going to start my coaching stuff. You're 0% responsible for what happens to you as a youngster. You're 100% responsible for what happens to you as an adult. When it's been your whole life that way, it's very difficult to stop it overnight. Shedeur is a Deion, not just a son. It's almost like a disciple. Follow my ways. Follow what I teach you. More than a father. It's a life of its own as an athlete. Quarterback. Visible position. One of only 32. There's way more cornerbacks than there is quarterbacks, right? That even start in a game. Triple, quadruple the amount. This is a Deion Sanders production. And Shedeur Sanders is trying to play the lead part. I still don't think it's going to end well. I still think he will find himself out of the league. He still hasn't grown up at all, despite all the coaching. He proved that to us yesterday. He proved it to us 5 weeks ago with his whatever mockery of what Rex Ryan said and the lipping, but not saying any words. He's a child, folks. And it takes a longer time to grow up when you've been coddled like that your whole life, and he's going to face struggle for the rest of his life, most likely. I mean, the textbooks say it. They show it. Human behavior, if you study it, is really difficult. So I don't expect it to change. It's how he believes he needs to it's how he believes he thrives, and it's what he believes he needs to strive to. All right, enough of Shedeur Sanders. Let me just hop on the Lions here real quick. Oh boy, that was not good last night. That looked very bad. That looked like one team was at the top and one team was middle down. And the team middle down is this shoulder, is my guys over here. That was hard to watch. It was hard to take. There's some problems there that have reared their head again. That's the offensive line. There was no offensive line. Then there was continuity and got it figured out for a couple of games. Then we played in Philadelphia last night. It falls apart again. That's a problem that seems not to be being able to be fixed consistently. Obviously, you did some things, and there's some bright parts to take out of this. You cannot not acknowledge the bad parts. You can acknowledge some of the good parts. No one stops the tush push, and the Lions did it a couple of times last night. They looked fantastic defensively. They have injuries all over the field. I'm not making excuses because everybody has them. We're known for it. Last year, the most in history, I think it was 22 players on injured reserve. And of the 22, I think 18 were defense. Most all was the defensive backfield along with Hutchinson. Here we go again. Lots of replacements in the backfield. Rock Ya-Sin playing A.J. Brown, that's his cousin. A.J. Brown at the end of the game there. I'll get to the officiating in a moment. People are all over Jared Goff again, saying he can't play at the outside, this, that, and the other thing. I don't care who the quarterback is. If you can't protect them, and there is pressure in your face 24/7 of the game, everyone looks average or less than average. That's not a Jared Goff thing. The wind was swirling 25, 35 gusting last night. Everybody knows Philly has that wind tunnel kind of situation. Jennifer Hammond from Fox 2 in Michigan. I saw her post about, 4 o'clock, something like that. She was in Philadelphia and what's up, Jen, if you're watching, shout out. Great job as always. Hammer, they call her Hammer. She, said it was 52. I think it was 40 wind chill. And she said it was either the coldest or the windiest ever. And she put 30 miles gust winds. And I thought to myself, this is at like 4 o'clock, might have even been 3 o'clock. And I said to myself, that's not good. I mean, you basically have to throw a ball like Michael Penix or Jeff George that can just cut through that wind like that last night. And it was affecting Jalen Hurts too. Jalen Hurts was not very effective last night. He was not very accurate last night. Goff was certainly worse. I mean, what do you have? 5 batted balls. One of them ended up in an interception. And by the way, guys, everyone who doesn't believe in the short quarterbacks like Dylan Gabriel and Bryce Young, that's a 6'5" guy. When you don't have protected lanes, you don't have lanes to throw to, and you have an unbelievable defensive line like Philly has, and then big fellas get their hands up and you have no lane to throw through, that's going to happen. And boy, did it happen a lot last night. Dan Campbell was the gambling man last night. I don't necessarily disagree with it, if I'm being honest. You could have pinned them deep a couple of times. I get it. But whether you were at your own 40 or their 40, 35, 30, whatever it was, they were still struggling. It was basically the Jahmyr Gibbs show and not much else. Nice play to Jameson Williams, but not much else. They were off. Yeah, there's concern. You're 6-4. You're not even in first place in your own division. It stings. I'm not going to lie. It stings. To say that the season is over, I don't agree. Not even for a second. Campbell, I got still the utmost faith. Brad Holmes taking a ton of heat. I mean, that's what we've become. You love a man, you love it, or you love a strategy, you love an organization, you get a couple of losses. But Dan Campbell's a good coach, but I believe he gets in his own way too much with his aggressive and reckless style. After 0-2 or 3 on fourth, you got to punt the ball 0-5. 0 for 5 is nuts. I agree, probably got a little bit much last night, but please understand that that's been the philosophy and that's been the mentality since he stepped on the field as their coach 5 seasons ago. And it's a large reason why they've had as much success as they have had. Think about this for a moment. you're going to give your team a chance, 2 chances, 3 chances, 4 chances, 5 chances. The Lions always come through in those moments. He says he wish he would have had some of those back. If he could redo it, he would do some things differently. He really wants to take some of it back. Hindsight's always 20/20. But every time he gives them a second chance, they come through. And they needed to bust through last night. It is a double-edged sword. They needed to bust through last night, and he kept on giving them every opportunity. And with your defense playing that well, I think that's the thought process there. Hey, we're in this. We're basically a score down. It did get to 10 there for a bit, but we got an opportunity here. And if I could just spark this, maybe it'll start to take on a life of its own. And it just never happened. It never happened. And that's unfortunate. But I don't necessarily begrudge the calls. And for me as a coach, I leaned more towards the aggressive side than a conservative side, because my philosophy was I need to put my team in the best possible position to win and succeed at the highest level and do so consistently, and then have the ability to sustain and grow that. If I'm not doing that, if I'm not putting them and giving them every opportunity to win and to be great, then I have failed as a coach. Now, you can go too far with that, and you can go not far enough with that. And Campbell, I think in hindsight, believes he might have went a little bit too far with that. I don't know. Do we know what would happen if he did it, if he punted on 1 or 2 of the things? No, we don't. We don't even know how the punt would have worked out. Wind was all over the place. So Goff has 2 gloves on last night. They were talking about it. Everybody picked the Eagles. I thought that the Lions would win. I picked them 38-28 on Friday night. This was before the wind, because believe me, if that was a normal weather game, they're going is totally different for both teams, not just the Lions. Philadelphia moves the ball well, but they made Barkley look very average. Devontae Smith, I think he had 1 catch. Dallas Goedert's been lighting it up all year. Jalen Hurts looked average or less than average. They're certainly not lighting it up offensively. The Philadelphia fans have gotten frustrated at the lack of offensive production from that team, and they got stonewalled yesterday. And they got stonewalled in an area that people can't do it. Now, Barkley's down this year because, again, there's film, and it's hard to replicate a season like that. And they're loading up the box, and they're forcing Hurts to do other things, and he's stopped running the ball as much, which is hard to figure. If he starts running the ball more, it will open some things up. We'll see if they do that. It happened for a minute last night, but then he pulled right back, and he was still, trying to be the pocket passer, which you got to respect that, because that should be your first option as a quarterback. How do I go through my reads and distribute the ball where it needs to go versus tuck it and run every time? I mean, there's a lot of guys who do that, and it's the wrong thing to do. Guys like Josh Allen, who it's very coordinated, it's very specific, Mahomes, guys like that can really make it a worthwhile play, makes more sense. And Hurts does it too. But I really think he's trying to become more of a pocket passer, less of a runner, less risk. He's getting older. He's not too old, but he's getting older. And you want to take less hits. I mean, ask Jackson Dart how that's going. That's a rookie. You can't take hits like that. It's the NFL, man, which stands for not for long. If you keep doing that, Jackson Dart learned. And there's another guy, by the way, talking about concussions on the previous topic. He played, folks. He played, I think, a few more downs and then came out. It doesn't always show. I'm certified. So this notion that it's a fake job in Cleveland, don't mess with people like that. Seriously. And I'm really sensitive about concussions. My co-host, diagnosed with 3, believes he had 30. A lot of these people's lives are altered forever and can't even think the same way. So I don't think they made up a concussion on the guy. It's just sometimes it doesn't show. And as Luke told me, sometimes you don't even report it and you keep it on the low. I couldn't believe he said that on the air, if I'm being honest, but he said it. And he played for like a legendary high school as an all-state quarterback. And he's like, yeah, I didn't say it all the time. So if they don't notice it and there's not, real noticeable signs and you don't say anything, it can go on for a series or multiple series or if it's in basketball, multiple plays, whatever it is, baseball. So that's nonsense. So I have some concerns about the Lions. Philly fans are super excited. Good for them. There's I don't even want to get into it. Let me just say this real quick. The Lions were known as SOL, same old Lions, and people are feeling that today, that here it comes. We've had this 2-year run. Here's the SOL. I thought we were good on the offensive line. They didn't assess it or address it at the because we're beat up on the offensive line too. They didn't address it. They didn't build in depth at the offensive line. Oh my gosh. Hell's freezing over. It's just everything is panic mode because it's everybody wants it on their clock, on their time frame. And unfortunately, that's not life. I mean, sometimes I get impatient too, but we got to let it play out. And they have the ability to run the table the rest of the way or lose one more the rest of the way. If you go 12-5, I had them at 13-4, 12-5 worst case. They're now 6-4. They could go to the rest of the way and only lose one game. That's very possible, or two, and get in at 11-6. So it's not full crush depth yet. All right, end of the game call. All right, I might get a little bit loud again, Adam, or whoever said that earlier. Folks, I don't understand this. I don't understand this. Let me first start by saying this. Every single coach at the beginning of the year, every single team I coached at the beginning of every year, I would lay out the expectation. And one of the things that was a firm rule, you are never to question an official. You are never to look at officiating or a call and use it or try to use it as a crutch, as an excuse. I was known for this, and I didn't even argue it. If I wanted, as the coach, I don't even think I ever had a technical. If I wanted clarity, of course, I have the ability to do that, and I'm going to scream at the ref to come tell me, give me your explanation. We were in like the state championship game, and there was defensive indifference of some kind, and I wanted an explanation. People yelling at me at the stands, don't you know the rules? Hello, I got this is something very major going on here against a 25-0 team. We have a chance to make history. I want to know what's going on, why you made that call. So those would be the only situations that would happen. If I heard it, boy, there was penalties. They would run. There's all kinds of stuff. I am not an excuse maker. I hate it. Can't stand it. I don't like ref excuses. I don't believe that call at the end of the game determined the outcome of the game. You had 58 minutes to do something about it. You never put yourself in a position where you have basically no outs or no options. And in that moment, it's like a boxing match. You just can't leave it in the hands of the judges. There's 3 of them. And that's all it takes is one of them to be stupid off, and you might get a draw, or they might see it the other way. So take it out of their hands. Or in the context of last night, don't allow it to be in their hands. Now, with that being said, those 2 minutes are in the hands of the officiating. And for the first time it's not the first time, but it's the first time in my life I'm probably saying it in this format. I don't think coaches know the rules. I don't think players know the rules. I don't think us as fans know the rules. I don't think any of us know what a penalty is in football. I don't think any of us know what traveling or a carry is in basketball. I don't think the players in the game know what they can or cannot do. It's all subjective. You have all of these referees each game of the week throughout the year. They're supposed to go in accordance with a certain set of standards and rules by the league. They're graded as such. They go through all this mentoring and coaching and all this type of stuff. And there's more emphasis put on certain things at the beginning of each year. Hey, we're going to look for this more, quarterback hits. We're going to put attention there. Illegal hands to the face, whatever it may be. We're going to focus on this. We're going to focus on that. That was a BS call last night. If there was any call to make, and I personally believe there should have been no call, it's an offensive pass interference, if any call. They say, how many times have anybody is a hockey fan, and I don't follow it as much as I used to, but I was a massive hockey fan. And, oh, you can't call that in overtime. Oh, you can't call that in the last 5 minutes. What? If it's a penalty at 5 minutes into the game, it's a penalty 5 minutes left in the game. You cannot call it, oh, it's the playoffs. Oh, it's the Super Bowl. We can't call it now, or we need to call it now. No. Set the standard. What is the freaking rule? Define it, make it clear, spell it out, and call it as such. Now, there's human error. And until the human error is removed across the board, it's going to keep happening. The game is bigger, faster, stronger. Most of those referees, and I've talked to a ref who coaches, is married into my family. And he coaches, or not coaches, he refs Big Ten and a number of other conferences. He's about my age now, but when we had the conversation, he was probably 40. And I said, Tom, why are so many officials so old and can't move? And he said, they want more of the veteran guys, the experience. Why can't we teach 35? We can have a president who's eligible to be a president of the United States at 35, but we can't have an official south of 60? Seriously? In the NFL? Like, do you guys see anybody really south of 60? The male officials? Maybe a here and there. And I know they're trying to do a good job, but it is what it is. Why are we not researching for speed and ability in that context so that it's never going to be as matched to the game? But why are we not putting the best foot forward there? And why is it that a subjective call like that last night, we have expedited review now that comes down from the booth from New York or whatever, and we make the change? Why can't we get that right? Why couldn't that be a no call and punt the ball, and the Lions had the ball with roughly a little under 2 minutes with an opportunity? I personally don't think that they would have been able to score. That's my own personal opinion. But that does not change the fact that that is now a blanket across the entire league, and maybe somebody else it happens to may have scored. Or maybe I'm wrong, and maybe they would have scored. Because that's give the ball to Gibbs. He can make magic happen, and the next thing you know, the dude's running 70, and you got an extra point away from tying the game. Why? If you want to get it right, then get it right. You install this new technology that establishes the line, but you don't put a chip in the ball and a chip on the sidelines to show when it is a first down or when it's short. And you got all this chaos going on with freaking like 6,000 pounds all piled up on top of each other, and who knows where the ball is, and we're just going to guess. And you got one ref running from the sidelines one way and another ref running from the sidelines from the other direction, and they're a yard apart. Oh, you got that? You got that, Mark? Oh, we'll go with that. Oh, okay, let's go with that one. What are we doing? So while I don't want ref calls to even bail those guys out, you got to get it consistent. How do you get it consistent? With human error, it's never going to be right all the time. So you have to aid that. Why are we not have reviews, let's say, in the last 5 minutes? Expedited reviews guaranteed in the last 5 minutes. It really should be the whole game. If you expedite it, true expedite it means go quickly, right? If you are truly expediting it, it's not going to make the game go 3:45 or 4 hours. It's not going to make that. Most of these expedited reviews, it's like before they even have a chance, the announcers have a chance to say, oh, they're going to review. Oh, they did an expedited review. It's incomplete. Most of it's basic. Now, there are some, if you don't install a chip, did he make it? Is there conclusive evidence? Did he complete the catch? Some of that is still going to be hard, but that's not hard to replay that moment last night with Rock Ya-Sin, who you cannot play it any better. A.J. Brown is one of the most physical wide receivers in the league. Rock Ya-Sin's been on like 172 teams. He's like half the size of the dude. He was taught to play the position and play the route and play that precisely as he did it. And he got basically, not basically, he got penalized for it. Next thing you know, the Eagles are kneeling on the ball. And I would say the same thing in the reverse. I don't care what team it is. It's wrong. Why do we go 20% of the way, 40% of the way, 50% of the way? Why don't you just break it all up? Cut it all down to the studs. Do a full reboot and get it right. Thursday games, overseas games, the majority of them are duds. Then Roger Goodell goes to this game in Madrid and he says, that might be the best stadium in the world. Your players are getting injured left and right, and most of them attribute it to the playing conditions, and no one in the United States has figured out how to build a stadium or build a retractable, bring it underground. It's got a greenhouse underneath. You kidding me? Like, what are we doing over here? Why can't you figure it out? This is basic stuff. We got to watch guys get more blown out knees. Now, would that save it? Would that stadium save, 50% of the injuries, 20% of the injuries, 10% of the injuries? Would a call like that last night change the outcome across the league for a full season? Would it change it by 10%, the outcomes by 10%, 20%, 30%? The question is irrelevant. What is relevant is the opportunity for it to be an actual statistic or percentage is not possible because you haven't done it. What is one of those costs? I didn't look into it. I want to delve into what does it cost to do that? It's probably, if I had to guess, 150 million. Probably. That's ashtray money. That's before a lot of your guys' time watching this. But back in the day, we'd fill up the ashtray with change. These owners, that's side change. Protect your investment. You got 100, 200, 300 million dollars invested into some of these guys individually. Don't you want to protect them? Don't you want to make your product better? So there's just dumb stuff that continues to happen. It doesn't get addressed. You get a frustrated fan base and some turn away from it and they don't agree with the product. I give the NBA credit because they've finally figured out, and it's not recent, but at the time it was like, finally, we realized that 2 refs on the court, it's not good enough. Let's have 3. It makes all the difference in the world. So the Lions looked awful. It is not the end. The Eagles looked much better. It's not the end. Kansas City lost yesterday again, 5-5 and a basic must-win. Hey, Colin Cowherd, how you doing there, buddy? Bo Nix, 290, 285, 290 he threw for? 9-2? Colin Cowherd, Bo Nix, get rid of him. J.J. McCarthy, get rid of him. Michael Penix, get rid of him. Who am I missing? Who's the other one he wants to get rid of? He wants to get rid of them all. And that's what we've become as a society. No patience. No, let it go a little bit. Michael Penix is going to be a phenomenal quarterback. And now he's got knee damage, and it looks like he's going to miss the rest of the year. There's another one playing on the indoor turf in Atlanta. I don't know what they attribute the injury to. Honestly, I didn't see the play. I saw afterward on Red Zone. I didn't actually see the play. And what if it was attributable to the turf or just the way that his leg bent or what have you. But it's like there's no patience no more. What have you done for me lately? I want it now, not later. It's got to happen in 1 week, not 3 weeks, or not 5, 10 weeks, or a season, or even a half a season. Just got to have it now. So Lions have their work cut out for them. Every game is pretty much a must-win game. And I'll be honest with you. Let me just say this, because I said this last year in the opposite way. When you're winning, 7-1, 8-1, 9-1, 10-1, 11-1, you start to think it's easy. And this happened to us as a team. And this team that I mentioned, we were in this big time game. I scheduled that team mid-season because I knew they were better than us, and I wanted an awakening for our team. I knew we would get our doors blown off. We lost by 21, 22. And I knew if they did what they were supposed to do and we did what we were supposed to do, they're in the other conference, we're in our conference, we would meet in the end. So I wanted to get rid of that. So a lot of times they say sometimes it's a good loss. So while this may sound counterintuitive, I think that the Lions could end up being, I'll use the Lions and I'll use KC because I had not, and Adam, I think you said it, or Zach, not just because I have them to go into the Super Bowl. It's just two teams that are, can't seem to fully figure it out right now. One's 5-5, one's 6-4. If KC goes on a roll right now through the end of the year, or the Lions go on a roll right now versus a team like the Rams, who, let's say the Rams keep winning through and they get a bye like the Lions had last year, I'd rather have the team who had to fight all the way through to the end, that was in playoff mode, win or else, win or go home mode, all the way through, than the team that sat there and said, we've been resting. Man, we had some time off. We've been relaxing. All right, ready to play now? Let's go out and play. It's a different mentality. The mind thinks differently. So this could be a blessing in disguise for some of these teams that are 5-5, 6-4, versus, not that the Rams didn't earn that. They've earned it, and they're playing lights out. Seattle, a lot of people say Sam Darnold turned into Sam Darnold again yesterday, but I don't necessarily, and I'm not a big Sam Darnold guy, but I'm not going to say that either, because you could turn around and get it back together. Sometimes these things happen, and don't kick him to the bench, right? Where's the patience? Don't kick him out of the league. So, yeah. So that's about it. So just real quick here to just sum it up. The Shedeur Sanders thing is a show. It's reality sports TV. It's a joke. It's an embarrassment. He's embarrassed himself. He's embarrassed his family. He's embarrassed the game. He's embarrassed everything. Allow me to reassure you that the Lions should still win the division, assuming you win your second games with the Packers and Bears, who are both complete frauds. The Bears are complete frauds. I wouldn't rule out the Packers quite yet, although I hear Jacobs got a knee injury now too. We'll see. But yes, definitely on the Bears. I mean, it's just smoke and mirrors. But it's a fraud show talking about Shedeur. He's not a leader. I believe this is all scripted. It's right out of a Hollywood movie. And, he kind of got what he deserved yesterday. But again, I don't kill the guy. I didn't think you're not supposed to come out and go, and 4 for 17. You're not supposed to go, throw 70, 80% in that position and have 2 touchdowns and, 43 yards rushing and no sacks. It's not supposed to be perfect. Doesn't matter who you are. But, I still hold true to all the predictions, and yesterday kind of validated more of them. We'll see what happens. And the Lions, will see if they get their butts together. A lot more to cover later on. Did you hear Shedeur is in line to start against the Raiders Sunday? No, I didn't hear that. I heard that Stefanski said Dylan is the quarterback if he clears protocol. Has something been announced while I've been on the air here? Zach? I don't think he would. Stefanski just came out and said that. Anyways, there's a lot more going on in sports. I'm sure I'll get to more of this week. I'm hoping to have Luke back for Friday night. It'll be week 60. Wow. Week 60 of PB Sports Talk. Go look at Mary Kay Cabot's post. Yeah, well, I don't know if you can believe anything that Mary Kay Cabot says, because who knows? Probably being Friday night again, 7 p.m. Hopefully Luke is back. He's been on extended PTO, we'll say. And there'll be a lot more to talk about. That LeBron James thing is lingering. We will see what happens. And there'll be more Shedeur talk, I'm sure. Maybe I'll be on with Jason Whitlock. I don't know quite yet. If I am, I'll let you guys know. Appreciate you jumping in on this impromptu Monday night. Everybody have a great evening. Have a great week. Remember, hug someone, hold someone, love someone. Life is short. Take care, guys. Good night.